So imagine your son or daughter's going into business and you have to just give them a few pieces of very concise advice as to how they can emulate the level of success that you've had. What would you say to them?
I'd never want anybody to emulate somebody else. So my son, or I think my friend's son, I'd always want to know what they want to do in their lives. I think asking them to emulate me puts a sort of pressure on them which they don't need. Because they could become a CEO like me and not, they're saying I wasted my life.
True.
Right? So, but some of the pieces of advice I would give them is, life is about problem solving. In any sphere that you go, ultimately it is about problem solving. So you must tune your skills to solve problems. You must work very hard. I'd always say, owns everything that you do. Own it 100% or don't own it at all. Please don't waste your time and everyone around you by doing something where you are only 80% into it. It is torturous. So don't do that. So commit to whatever you do. If you enjoy it, then I think that is a real icing on the cake. Not everyone enjoys everything that they do, but you must enjoy at least 60% of what you do every day. Otherwise, I think as I said, it's either torturous or it's misery for you, and you'll get to the end of the road and say, I wasted my life, right? But I'd also say to them, try and love people around you. Because no point in being just all self-centered, being angry, being so passionate. You smell the roses, and love people. Because you love people, people will love you back. Not immediately, right? Sometimes people don't reciprocate quickly enough. But if you love people around you, live life to the full, I think it will be very meaningful. And when you look back, you'll be able to say, yeah, that was the life that I wanted to lead.
Yeah, I think that's an important message. So we're hearing now about millennials entering the workforce and that we as CEOs need to interact with them differently. What advice would you give CEOs who have millennials now in the workforce and maybe they're not accustomed to working with them?
Well, I try a lot working with the millennials, and trust me, it isn't easy. It isn't easy either which way. Because you go to the millennials and they say, what's this old man coming to me for? I don't want to talk to him. And it actually takes a while to break the ice and to be able to build a relationship. If you go to them, then you got to be open. They've got some strange views, but then the world is going to be very different in the years to come. The way I have been trained for 35 years, if I stick to that, then I might as well not talk. Because I think the worst thing you do is to seek somebody's feedback and not implement it. Right? So you go to the millennials, and I think it is absolutely key that you talk to the millennials, because our customers are going to be millennials. So if you don't understand your customers, then I think you're not going to be successful. But I have interacted with them. Some of them are great fun. But it takes a while, because otherwise they always think, why am I going to talk to somebody so senior, right? And they are very capable of saying, okay, yesterday was a great day, today I'm leaving. And you'd just be scratching your head and say, what happened there? But they are different.
So I can see from what you said, that older leadership style of being authoritarian will probably not work. What I get from you is there's a lot of empathy in your approach. And would you suggest that that's one of the key elements of what makes that relationship work?
I guess so, yeah. I guess that the youngsters, if you go to them and talk to them, as I said, if you go to people, the empathy part comes in where you are genuinely wanting them to be better at what they want to do. And I think that is where the difference between empathy and authoritative. I don't go to them and say, this is what I want you to do. Because then there are a lot of managers between them and myself. I could get them to ask them to do a certain thing. If I go to them, it's something that I learn from them, right? if they don't think I'm learning from them, there is no empathy in it.
True.
You know, then it's a one-way traffic.
Yeah, you definitely get a lot of leaders who hear the buzzword of empathy and they say, I'm going to go out there and be more empathetic. But I think what I got from what you just said is that authenticity has to be there. You can just feel that, right?
I hope they do.
You were recently awarded CEO of the Year at the Asia Insurance Awards. What do you think clinched that award for you?
I actually went and talked to the judges about it. And I was just curious as to what clinched it. I think the performance of the company. So as I talked about losing a big distributor with 70% of our sales, and in 2 years we recouped all those profits. But it was also a broader piece about the contribution of the company, the way we've treated our people, some of our CSR responsibilities and how we've taken them, how we worked with the more needy and the not so fortunate people in society and helped them. And it just looked at the whole piece together. And that, I believe, clinched it, because there would, I think, many others who would have done very well on their numbers. But I think it was a more complete story for us as Aviva. And that probably clinched it for me.